Miss Lola Scarborough, and she'll be on the phone here in just a couple minutes. She is an amazing person. She is an author. She's a health and wellness expert. She's a yoga instructor. She's really into that. And she is probably one of the most interesting people I've ever met. And her story, I don't know how I'm going to fit it into 20 pages because she has her own chapter. She's a lead writer in Simply Amazing Women. I don't know how that's going to happen, but it's, you guys, if you haven't heard her on the air, you're in for something right now. Her new book, it's called Fighting for Our Tits. Yes, I said that word, but that's the name of the book. I didn't make it up. Lola made it up. I just blame Lola. But guys, with no further ado, it's my honor and privilege to bring back to WMAP the one and only Miss Lola Scarborough. Lola, what's going on, buddy?
Thank you, Casey. That's quite an intro.
Well, you're quite a lady. I'll tell you that much.
Well, thank you so much. And I enjoyed reading the first book, Simply Amazing, and I know I'll enjoy reading the second one when it gets out.
Yeah, your chapter is going to be great. It's going to be awesome because these interviews that you've done with me are just so incredible. There's so many things that happen to you in your life, and it's like once you say one event and you talk about something, I'm like, all right, she's not going to top this. That's the best. And then the next story is, wow, it surpassed the other one. So, I mean, do you look back, when you look back on your life, do you think that you've had a lot of experiences? I mean, do you think that you're very different, or do you think that everybody has those type of experiences?
Well, I think everyone comes here and they have different experiences, and I think that's the right way for it to go. Most people who come from the kind of background I come from find it really hard to get out. There are a lot of barriers to entry in a more normal-like world. For people like us, I mean, I had to learn how to speak the right way. I had to understand the morals and the values of the people I was around. It's a whole different culture from what I was raised up in. And I actually went down to see some of my brothers and sisters and my aunt, the one that I lived with for a while, who was a heroin addict. I went down and saw them this past weekend, and we were all kind of laughing. If there's one thing my mother did, she left us all with a rowdy sense of humor. And we were all just laughing because when my brothers and sisters tell their story, people are just absolutely aghast and flabbergasted and just, they're like, wow, I can't believe you lived through that. You need to write a book. So I had this idea. I'm going to get all my siblings together. We're going to co-author a book, and I'm going to call it Stealing Bootsy. And the story behind that is my brothers and sisters used to steal my stepfather from each other because he had a Social Security check. And so in the middle of the night, one or the other of them would sneak in and steal Bootsy. And
oh, my God.
But I mean, it's true. These things, they're all true. So they all laugh like crazy, and they said, yeah, let's do it. So I'm going to write a book called Stealing Bootsy sometime soon.
I think that's a great idea. I mean, if it has to do with you and your life and the things that your challenges and how you got over them, man, sign me up. I'm all in on that one. So before we get into kind of almost where we left off last time, tell me about Fighting for Our Tits.
The book is well researched. I am a bit of a research rat, and I went into a lot of different areas to explore what they thought might cause a woman to be more inclined to have breast cancer. Whether she's genetically predisposed or not doesn't really seem to matter very much anymore. So I did a lot of research on things and found that there were many different things that caused disruption in the endocrine system, and so I put those things in there, told people what to watch out for, told women, these things can increase your risk for breast cancer or any other kind of cancer for that matter, as well as giving them a whole big chapter on different alternative wellness techniques that they can use to enhance their their happiness and their health at any time. So it's a book about staying healthy, trying to avoid triggers that are known to perhaps lay the groundwork for breast cancer to fester.
Got it. And people who want to pick up this book, you can go to yogalola.com and lolascarborough.com. Either one, or should they go to Amazon, Lola? Which is the best way to do it?
Amazon is good. That one's really simple.
Okay, yes.
And then just search for Lola Scarborough.
Yep.
But you can order it from my author's website, which is the lolascarborough.com, or from my Yoga Lola website.
Okay. All right. So now we let's dive back in so if we go back, and none of this has to be in order, but every story that you tell me, there's always something that we draw from it. It is I think that's what's so cool about it. Do you look back on your life, Lola, and are you still learning things about yourself?
Oh, absolutely. And, one of the things that I've learned is a lot of gratitude. I kind of have this worldview that things happen for a reason. And I know the statement's been made so many times that it sounds trite, but it's true. And I think instead of resisting the experiences in my life, I've embraced them. And, I tell my mother, I said, I'm grateful for you being who you are. Without you, I wouldn't be me, and I'm sorry that you had to do the hard work of being my mother and being what you were so that I could be what I am. Because without those experiences, I would not, I can't even imagine who I would be. Mm-hmm. And I have a lot of gratitude for them, and I have a lot of gratitude for the people around me who believed in me, who saw something in me, who saw potential, who offered a hand to lift me up. So I got lots of opportunities to not only see the worst side of people, but also the best side of people. And I'm eternally grateful for that, because I came out of it, I think, with a very balanced view of people are neither black or white, right? We all exist in different shades of gray most of the time. And we do our best. And sometimes, if you study astrology, it like when I did my natal chart for the first time, when I really started getting into the meat of astrology, it talked about my mother and who she was, and it talked about the absence of a father, and it talked about me having two mothers, one of which was my grandmother, because I lived with her on and off throughout my life. And I looked at it, and then I realized, what happened to me had already been written in the stars. I had the free will to make of it what I wanted. But the experiences were already etched into my destiny. And it's there in black and white, run by a computer program who doesn't know anything about me except my name, my date of birth, and my time of birth. And it gave me an incredible amount of insight into, I think, the workings of the universe. And it also let me understand that really blaming and shaming doesn't take anyone anywhere, that some things are just meant to be, and that's what they are. And without my mother, I wouldn't have even had a story to tell. So
wow. Lola, so just so I'm understanding it correctly, and audiences too, are you saying that, say, I don't like to say negative things, but say I am going to win the lottery. Do you mean if I don't play the lottery, how can I ever win the lottery? Or is somehow somebody going to give me a ticket and I'm going to win the lottery? What are you saying? Is everything? You said it was bound to happen, but then you also said something about how we make choices. So can you clarify that for me, because I'm a little bit confused.
Absolutely. So if you go into my natal chart, it talks all about my early childhood. It's all right there. So those things were kind of written in the stars for me before I came down.
Lola, I'm sorry to interrupt. But I have to one more time, because I don't know what a term means, and I don't think the audience does either. What is a natal chart?
A natal chart is when you contact an astrologer. There are also some online tools that you can use, and you put in your name, you put in your birth date, your time of birth, and where you were born.
Okay.
And what that does is it maps out different positions in the sky that were in effect when you were born.
Okay.
And those planets, those positions in the sky, have a large influence on your personality, how you look, things that are challenges for you, and gifts that you're born with.
Okay, great. Thank you. That makes sense. So okay, so you okay? Now, please, I won't interrupt again. Now I'm going to listen.
No, thank you for asking. But so when you look at my natal chart, kind of the things that were going to happen to me, the family I was going to be born in, and the characteristics that I was going to have, some of my personality traits, the way I look, the way I emote, the way I love. These things are all in the natal chart. But so I could have taken those experiences and I could have become bitter, angry, and hard, because it doesn't foretell the future. It only tells you the potentialities that you come in with. So I chose compassion, and I chose caring and loving over being angry or bitter or becoming a third generation alcoholic. So there's a level of free will in everything. I mean, the experiences that you have may have a predestined quality to them, but how you as a human being handle those experiences is up to you.
I see. Okay. All right. Thanks for clearing that up. Now, one thing I always wanted to ask you, because some of the things you've shared throughout all of our interviews, and I'm psyched because we have a bunch more, so you guys are going to get to hear from Lola a lot more. Looking back, I know that you have forgiven pretty much everybody. Is that true?
Yeah. I mean, I still have scars. Mm-hmm. Even after you forgive, you remember, you don't forget. I mean, you'd be crazy to forget because there's lots of really good lessons in the things that you've gone through. But yes, I would say I have.
Okay.
That I have forgiven, and the person I've forgiven the most is me.
Wow. Did you blame yourself for, you talked about a sexual abuse event, and you talked about violence. Did you think somehow you had something to do with that for a while?
Oh, absolutely.
You did? Oh.
Yes. Yeah, I was the oldest, and she never had a planned pregnancy except for one. The rest of us were always surprises. Mm-hmm. And one of the times I got hit the hardest was when I was like, well, why don't you just keep your legs closed and it'll stop happening.
Uh-oh. You said that to your mom? Oh, my God. I want to hear what happens here. I don't think your mom liked that.
Yeah, I flew across the room.
Yeah, that's what I figured would happen. Yeah. All 5 for 2 of her.
That's right. I knew it was coming. That's all right. I got enough satisfaction out of saying it was worth it.
Oh my God! Wow. Yeah, because she was your mom did not walk away from a fight, or if somebody said something to her.
She knew how to take care of it.
And she could fight too, huh?
Shut it down. No, she could fight.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one time she was 6 months pregnant with one of my brothers. His name is Dennis, and they were all drinking. And she got into a fight with my stepfather's brother's wife, and it became physical. And so she and Margaret were fighting, and then Bud went over there to pull her off. I mean, she's huge. She's hugely pregnant. And so Margaret comes at her again, and I was sitting there watching it. Bud has her arms back. She lifts both her legs up. She's splay-legged because her belly is so big, and she kicked Margaret right in the shoulders and sent her flying across the room, and then just beat the heck out of her.
Oh my God!
Yeah, she liked to fight.
What was this fight over? I mean, that you would fight with a pregnant woman?
Well, my mother picked the fight.
It doesn't matter. Wow.
She didn't stop till she got it. And I think it was because my mother said Margaret couldn't cook anything except food out of a can, and she didn't know anything about cooking fresh vegetables.
Oh, that's what it was over?
I think that's what started it.
Oh, my God. That is man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad you look back on these things and you can laugh about them, but at the time that's a very bordering on mentally ill to fight when you're 6 months pregnant over a comment like I could see if somebody of one of her kids was in trouble or she was defending, but something so trivial and frivolous as you can't cook. Wow, interesting
they
person.
They thought about everything and nothing at all. I mean, she liked. I'll tell you one more story about her,
yeah,
and then
please.
We'll get back on track.
Okay.
She called me, I don't know, this wasn't long before she died, but she'd gotten into a fight with someone who'd come into the house, and it was a man, because gender was not a discriminating factor for my mother.
She didn't care.
So they get into the fight, and so the guy, he's leaving because he doesn't want anything to do with it. And so he's walking out the door, and she's hitting him, and he gets into the car, and the window was down. He rolled the window up and drug her halfway down the street. She had scars all over her legs.
Wow.
And she called me, and I said, "Oh, my gosh, Mama, you've been drinking way too much. You know better than to start punching someone through an open window in the car." And she started laughing because she knew she had, she said, "Yeah, I kind of brought that one on myself."
Wow. Well, in a moment of clarity, I think, wow.
Yeah, she knew.
Did you ever witness her getting beaten up and losing a fight? Because that's got to be traumatic for a kid.
Oh, yeah. No, I witnessed her losing fights more than once. And the worst one was when my stepfather, the one that she was with the last, they had been fighting, and he got on top of her, and he was choking her.
Oh.
And
my you were in the room?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And I could see that her tongue was protruding and her eyes were bulging, and I thought, this time he's going to kill her. I mean, they took turns trying to kill each other. Mm-hmm. And I started screaming for my stepsister, and she came running in, and it took both of us to pull him off of her. And, I mean, I had him in a neck lock because he was just, I mean, they were always drunk and always fighting. And I think that time really scared her, and she slowed down a little bit after that. But,
how old were you, Lola?
I was probably 14 then.
Okay, 14, and you already know a chokehold.
Oh yeah, my mother taught me all of that.
Wow. So was that what broke them up? What was the final straw, and why did that one not work?
Well, no, they stayed married until she died.
Oh, okay.
She had a cauteroid, the jugular vein ruptured when she was 51. She was in the doctor's office, and she was still with him. And Bootsy was the last stepfather and the father of her last 3 children, all boys. And he's the one that I was telling the story about earlier, called the book I want to write, called Stealing Bootsy.
That when you guys would take turns stealing his check when he was sleeping?
Well, no, they didn't steal his check. They stole Bootsy. They would go in to each other's houses. I didn't. Once I was 15, I never lived in the household again. But no, they would later on. He was a hardcore alcoholic, and man may not be able to live on bread alone, but he can live on beer alone. Bootsy proved it. He couldn't even eat. He had ulcers up and down his throat so much, and he lived to be 90 years old.
Incredible.
Yeah, and they would steal them from each other so that, whoever had Bootsy had the check. Right?
Oh, so you're talking about stealing an actual person.
Yes.
Oh, I was thinking that you guys would go in and steal his check, his
No.
monthly check.
They would go in and steal Bootsy from each other.
But where did Bootsy want to? When he woke up and he was somewhere else? My mind's blown here.
As long as there was beer,
he didn't
was
care.
okay with wherever he landed.
Really? Oh my God!
Yeah.
And now this was your stepdad?
Yeah, and it was my stepsister, and then the action centered between my stepsister and my 3 brothers, who are his natural children.
And did anyone ever have to start calling people up? Hey, have you seen Bootsy?
Yeah.
Do you have him give him back?
That's right. Give him back. He's mine.
Oh my God, Lola, you are the best. But look, I know you got to get going. We'll pick this up. I want to ask about Bootsy. The first thing I'm going to make a note here that the first thing we talk about next time we have you on is we're going to finish this Bootsy story, because I really want to know. So many things I want to know. My mind is going crazy here. Like, did you have to barter to get Bootsy back, or did Bootsy ever not want to go somewhere? Did they steal him anyway? I mean, it's just incredible, and you are an incredible person, Lola Scarborough, guys. She's got to get going. She has another appointment to go to here, but she is the author of Fighting for Our Tits. She can be reached at yogalola.com or lolascarborough.com, and pick up her book. Go to amazon.com and pick up Lola Scarborough's Fighting for Our Tits, one of the world's most amazing people. And Lola, it's been always an experience with you. So I will talk to you next time. And thank you so much. The audience loves you, and I know I love you too. So I will talk to you next time.
Casey. All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Wow, how great is she, man? I never get tired of I could talk to her all day, just ask her stories. And she has a chapter. She'll be in Simply Amazing Women, coming out November 19. All right, guys, be right back on WMAP, World's Most Amazing People. Did I mention that this is the world's most amazing people? I don't know if I mentioned that. Did WMAP? That's the call letters. That's the name of the station, WMAP. I don't know, because I don't really say it too often. So I'm going to take you back, and I'm going to play another one from Lola Scarborough before we get ready for our FM show tonight. Tonight's going to be a real good one. I want you to watch on Twitch tonight, because we're working in a lot of video now. So you can go to twitch.tv/WMAP Radio. All right, and I got some good stuff for you. So, see you then. Here is Capriana with Lola Scarborough. This was a couple weeks ago.
Host Casey Armstrong has a really good heart, and I think he actually really cares what the people have to say. And I think that the idea has been great, and all these people have the opportunity to really share their stories and get their words out. I love WMAP because I hear stories that inspire me.
I happen to be of the belief that everyone, doesn't matter what it is, it's how you look at it. This is WMAP, the world's most amazing people.